All right, Wednesday in the books. I think I think the big question at this point in the season, you're basically halfway through the regular season, and if it was easy, everybody would do it. So there's a certain mentality and mindset and mental toughness that goes with being able to sustain at this point, and I think the large majority of our team understands that. We had a lot of guys out there competing today, exhibiting mental toughness, but we got some that need to do better. But in general, I like the energy and the effort of our kids. I think the execution level needs to improve, but we've got a big challenge here. This App State football team is good, and it will take our best. So we're anxious to polish this plan up tomorrow and get back to work, and look forward to the trip this weekend. What questions we got?
It kind of got lost in 66 points, but how satisfying when you drop a trick play like that and Patterson's able to pull it off like he did?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's fast, and we put him in that position specifically for that, and he did a great job. I think really that was a very well executed play. I mean, there's a lot of little details that go with that play. I thought the ex-receiver, Jamarcus Bradley, did a great job. I thought Robert Hunt, the right tackle, did a really good job. The running back, did okay. And the quarterback displayed great effort and got out in front of it. Well executed by Bam. But in general, it's a product of great execution, and the guy's fast and finished the play. So pleased with that.
When you see your quarterback 70 yards downfield, at least ready to lay somebody out, is that a good thing or is that scary?
Yeah, I think it's the type of football team we want to have. I think that at the quarterback position, you're the standard in the building, man. You walk around, and who you are and what you're about is exactly what we're going to be about, what type of organization we have, what type of team we have. So those guys are expected to be the cream of the crop and the premium example and model for the rest of the players, and it was good to see that.
Any update on Keenan Barr?
Still working on his knee. He's modified in terms of how he's practicing. We had an MRI done. We're trying to get to the bottom of the issue. But right now he's kind of in a holding pattern until then. But he is doing some things. But right now, he hasn't been able to take enough reps to travel. So I'm not sure after Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't think the guy will make the trip this week either.
Any of those other guys ruled in or out?
Manak is still questionable. Outside of that, the rest of the crew will be making the trip. Yep.
What's been your impression of Zach Thomas looking at the game film and how well he's been playing so far this year?
Well, I think he's obviously got some big shoes to fill. The Lamb kid's dad was actually my college coach and not position coach and head coach. But I do think, for a rookie player, he's done well, and certainly for what they ask him to do, he's a good fit. I remember him coming out of high school, certainly a good athlete and has shown to be an effective passer. And, they're moving it and they're scoring, so he's doing something right.
You mentioned the part of the season halfway through. How do you, not only the players, but how do you keep the, I don't know if they say motivated is the wrong word, but rested would be the wrong word as well. How do you keep the coaches fresh, I guess?
Yeah,
you said this is all new for everybody.
Right. Well, it's about self-discipline, truth be known. And I think it's, I've done it a lot of ways in my career, but you got to have some consistency in your routine, and you got to get a certain amount of rest, and you got to take care of yourself. You got to eat right. You got to get, I think coaches are no different than players. It can wear on you if you don't do all the little things right, and I think, I know I'm that way. I sometimes I just got to shut it down, turn it off. When I was young, that maybe not was the case, but I've learned over time that much more effective and much more prepared and better for the players if you work just the amount, the prescribed work, do it the right way, and be efficient, make the most of your time, you'll be fine.
When you were young, how old are you now?
Yeah, great question. I'm 39.
Yeah.
39. Still, I feel old, I guess you could say. But no, I really believe that. I mean, our coaches would tell you the same thing. We're going to turn it on and shut it off at the same time to create some consistency.
Does Duck scare you?
Say it again.
Duck, Clifton Duck, does he scare you?
Scare, I don't know if I would say that. I think the guy's a really good player. I think he's a good punt returner. I think he's experienced. He's got instincts, and he's been very productive. You know, he's had a handful of interceptions every year of his career, and he's been a very effective player for him. So got a lot of respect for him.
All right, I was warned to be out of firing range when I got to this one.
Okay.
How long did it take you to get over Miracle on the Mountain?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or have you not gotten it over yet?
Well, I mean, what a strange twist of emotions. You know, you go 1 minute you win the game, 1 minute you lose it. But good thing is we were able to, you know, execute a 2-minute drive later that year to get in the playoffs, and it didn't affect us. But hey, man, many a game, you know, against these guys, some good and some bad, I would say.
How many did you play there?
I think we play. I think as a starter, I just played there one time. You know, I think we played them. Maybe we beat them my junior year, and they beat us my senior year. And then it's hard for me to remember those early days. Too
But
many.
that one was your senior year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And really, you know, a great football game, man. I mean, that's the thing. The Southern Conference. That's what's pretty cool for me is, you know, Appalachian State, Georgia Southern. Those are teams that I played against as a player, grew up following because my dad had several players that played at all these places in the Southern Conference. So a lot of respect for the tradition and history at Appalachian State.
Did he live with you for a little while, or were you?
Oh, I mean, you don't get over those, you know. I don't think you ever get over those. You know, I hate to lose. That's what I would tell you, you know, no matter what the score is. But I think every time you lose, you don't forget them. I can tell you about them all, player and coach. So.
Can you believe that they're still talking about it? Not just talking about it, that it's like more there?
Hey, I would. I mean, if we had something like that here, we'd be talking about it, you know. So, I think it was a great football game and a heck of a play by the young man.
All right, last thing on that, I promise. Does it give you empathy for your quarterbacks when they check off and it doesn't work?
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing for our quarterbacks is you got to define the expectations for the players, you know, and if you're consistent, you're fair, and they're clearly defined, then you can live with it, you know. And I think that the two guys that we have that play for us do a great job preparing. They're great students of the game, and I think our system is pretty cut and dry, and they've done well for the most part so far.
Coach, we've heard so much about the offenses for these two teams going into this weekend, but App State's defense, one of the best in the country in points against, and also pretty good at getting off the field on third downs. Anything change offensively, philosophy-wise, heading into this game to kind of sustain drives, like you were saying going into last week, you wanted to be able to sustain drives? Well,
I think the big thing is the conditions. You know, it's going to be it's a different mission, different game, different opponent. You know, so the variables are completely different. We're on the road. Certainly, it's going to be cooler than usual for our guys. There's going to be a chance of rain. I think all those things affect the strategy within the game, and certainly, depending on where our defense is at, that's how we'll try to play on offense. You know, if they're getting on and off the field and getting stops, then that allows us to play fast and vary the tempo. But if we feel like, you know, it's an environment where we're going to need to chew up the clock, you know, and try to control the play count, we'll do that. You know, so I think we had time of possession was like 21-9 in the first half against New Mexico State. You know, and that's how you want it to be. You know, and that means that we're methodical, we're efficient, we're moving it, you know. But certainly with the crew we got, big plays are going to happen. You know, sometimes guys are going to break big plays, and hey, the bottom line is you got to score, you know, and initially you got to score, you know, a large number most weeks. So we'll continue to improve on defense and on our cover units, and I think that'll help us down the road.